Hello everybody, my name is KingStix. I hit Challenger in roughly 8 days. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you how I did it, how you can do it, and just some general tips for climbing, things that I've learned. Let's start out with some background information. I normally play on NA. I have equal ping to both the North American server and the Latin America North server. In Season 7, I peaked around 125 LP in Masters on the NA server. And then I got banned on both of my accounts for doing some naughty things. And no, these naughty things weren't cheating or anything of that nature. North America is incredibly toxic, and unless you mute everybody, you will get tilted guaranteed. I wanted to try my luck on LAN and see how easily I could get Challenger on there, since I knew LAN was in general a weaker region than NA. So I got a brand new level 30 LAN account for fairly cheap. When I first started the climb, I played all 10 placement games in one day on a brand new, fresh account. I won all 10 games, so it placed me in Plat 5. At that point, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the account or if I wanted to keep playing on it. I just let it sit there, so it went down to gold 175 LP. Months later, and I mean months later, I come back to the account and then I start my climb. I was playing roughly 9 to 15 games per day, 15 on the high end. It really depended on how well I felt for that day. If I wasn't feeling healthy because I didn't get a good night's rest or something of that nature, I wasn't going to push myself and force myself to play more, because then I'd obviously lose more games. A lot of you are probably wondering whether I duo queued or not, since I had an 83% win rate with less than 100 games, and I really didn't. I probably duo queued less than 10 games total, and whenever I did duo queue, I by far lost the majority of them. Whenever I did duo queue, it was always with a random LAN player where I thought, oh, maybe this guy might be good. He did well last game, but they pretty much only did well because of how hard I was carrying. It's easy to look good when you're surrounded with good players. So I really didn't duo queue, and I wish I didn't do it at all. Otherwise, I do believe I would have had a significantly better win rate, probably 85% or up. If you guys do want to climb in ranked, duo queuing is not necessary. You can easily do it purely solo queue, assuming you're picking the right champions for solo queue. There are certain champions like Master Yi who I would not recommend picking if you are doing solo queue, because you should have someone to team up with. The biggest issue with duo queue is you have to find somebody who has a similar schedule as you, who can play when you can play. Huge barrier to entry. Assuming you can find someone who is playing when you're playing, finding someone who plays a different role than you is also very difficult. And then finding someone who you can communicate fluidly with, and someone that doesn't annoy you and you don't annoy them, is very difficult. Now, if you can manage to find that person where you complement each other nicely, then sure, go for it. You're at an advantage. But unless you find that person with the same schedule, who mains opposite roles, that you can communicate fluidly with, I wouldn't bother, and don't worry about it. As I kept climbing with very high win rates of around 90%, the games became much more difficult. Essentially, it would put people on my team who tended to be autofill. It would usually try to autofill me more often, and the enemy team would usually have 1 or 2 players with a 60% and up win rate, so basically smurfs. So I couldn't really pick support style junglers like Nunu, Ivern. Nothing like that will work. No tank junglers. Nothing that requires a teammate on your team to be good or to do damage. For example, even though I'm awesome on Rammus, if I were to have picked Rammus, I would have had to rely on a teammate to do damage, which you just can't do whenever you're trying to 1v9 every game. So naturally, I was picking 1v9 champions like Twitch and Evelynn, and I ended up finding that Evelynn works better for 1v9ing, especially right now with how strong she is. Even after Electrocute nerfs, the Dark Harvest Evelynn is still good, so I'd still recommend Evelynn. When I did this climb, it was during the Electrocute Evelynn era, and that's what I was using. So I mainly abused Evelynn, Twitch, and Master Yi, playing the most Evelynn, then Twitch, then Master Yi. I really only picked Master Yi whenever we had a Morgana on our team, and I felt like I could carry that way. I even macroed a script on my mouse to say Morgana put Black Shield on me in team fights, so if they did speak Spanish, they would be able to understand me. I just abused 3 champions. I highly recommend, if you are serious about climbing, that you only play 1 role, 2 roles max, the second role being support, and only playing 1 champion in that role. For example, if you get put in support, you should at least know Soraka, unless you're willing to dodge. If you're willing to dodge, you only really need to know 1 role, and then you can get out of it that way. For me, I personally suggest for any patch that you play only 3 champions, and that's it. So for example, I'm a jungle main, So for the last patch, I only played Evelynn, Twitch, and Master Yi, and that's how I climbed so well. I didn't try to pump in other champions into the mix. I had 3 champions I knew for a fact, knew how to play very well, and I could carry with pretty much any circumstance. So for example, if my team was mostly AD, and if we didn't have a lot of peel, especially on our team, like no tanks, no supports, then going Evelynn was a really good choice because I could fill for the AP damage, and Evelynn doesn't need anyone to pill for her since she's always invisible, level 6 and up, and her ultimate can get her out of any bad situations. Or if my team was mostly AP, I could easily go Twitch and be the AD for our team, and if our team had a Morgana and we needed a true 1v9 carry and team fights or something of that nature, or a split pusher, I could go Master Yi. So I really had a champion for every niche. Now you could make the argument, well, you didn't have a tank jungler. Tank junglers aren't even important right now. Just don't sweat it. If your team does need a tank or you feel like you do, you can easily fill that spot with a bruiser or a bruiser tank like Darius or Garen. True tanks are not that important anymore. During my climb to Challenger on land with over an 80% win rate solo queue, I didn't AFK a single time or int a single time. It's just generally not good to do, especially if you're doing that in the early game after somebody dies or after you die. The game is still way too fresh. Odds are if someone on your team does something stupid, there will be someone on the enemy team who will do something stupid. So if you AFK or int, you won't have an opportunity to take advantage of that. So if you guys are serious about climbing, I understand it's easy to get frustrated, especially if you have a retard on your team. Just try to stick with it for as long as you can and just play it out. The moment you AFK or int, that's the very moment you lost the game. In my climb, I find that as long as you're not in a high diamond, masters, or challenger, even if you guys are at a 0 to 10 deficit, 0 kills to the enemy team having 10 kills within the first 8 to 10 minutes of the game, that's still very easy to come back from because of how shutdown gold works. Now, if you are in challenger and up with high win rates, yes, if you do lose a lot of kills within the first 10 minutes, over 90% chance you're going to lose. Another thing you need to avoid at all costs is typing in chat. I find that typing "good job," "thank you" isn't even that important. If you do that, it can actually make your teammates expect you to say it, and it might tilt them if you don't say it in the future if they make a good play. The biggest issue is if you are typing in chat, it makes it very easy to start typing something toxic if somebody makes you mad or somebody says something toxic to you. For example, you gank top lane. Let's say that your top laner is Irelia. She misses everything. She accidentally dashes onto the minion instead of the champion. She misses her stun and she dives the turret and ends up dying, and she's pinging you, "Oh, we could have had that. We could have had that." It'd be very easy for you to say, "You're a fucking retard, uninstall." At that point, she's going to decide, you know what, I'm going to troll you or I'm going to int you. There's a very good chance she might do that. So instead of saying anything, if you just mute her and not say anything at all, in her tiny little chimpanzee mind, she feels like she won the battle. "Oh, I got that off my mind and he didn't say anything, therefore I'm right." So just muting them is actually a win for you and your teammate. So really typing anything in chat isn't beneficial. If you are serious about climbing and getting the most LP possible, I would highly recommend muting every single one of your teammates, pings and chat, and turning off all chat. It works best for me because if a teammate starts question mark pinging me or saying like, "Oh, why didn't you come gank this?" when I'm on the complete opposite side of the map, it just tilts the crap out of me, especially in higher elo. Basically, all chat is only for BMing the enemy, so if you turn that off, you won't get tilted by the enemies. And your own teammates rarely type at all. And usually when they do, it's to complain or it's just nonsense. Very rare do they actually say, "Oh, flash is down, blah, blah, blah." If, however, you have a stronger mental state of mind and you're willing to risk your teammates tilting the crap out of you for the small chance that they might say flash is down, ult's down on the enemies, then you can go ahead and risk it. Ultimately, it depends on your state of mind. If you're not someone who gets tilted easily, you can just disregard this tip. However, if you are somebody who's been banned before or chat restricted for toxicity, I highly recommend you utilize this tip to its fullest. On my climb to Challenger, and even once I was in Challenger, I rarely dodged games because on the LAN server, whenever you're in Challenger, the queue times are roughly 5 to 15 minutes. So if you wait 15 minutes to get into a game, it's really heartbreaking to go ahead and dodge that game and then wait for your 5-minute queue timer, because you're gonna have to wait 5 minutes since you dodged, and then if you dodge again within the same day, then you have to wait 30 minutes. It's a big hassle, and I only have this one LAN account, so I pretty much only dodged on this account during my whole climb maybe a total of 2 or 3 times, and it was only when we had 2 junglers on our team and they both took smite and they're gonna troll, or if we had like a disco Nunu, something really weird. So I only dodged a couple of times. For sure, if I had dodged more, I definitely would have had a higher win rate. This final tip that I'm gonna give you guys is if you only have one account, I really wouldn't bother dodging. Climbing is gonna take forever and you're gonna get frustrated and bored. If you have multiple accounts that you can switch on and off to, then yes, dodge whenever your team's full AD, full AP, if you have a troll of any sort or kind, or if you get autofilled. For all of those reasons, you should be dodging and then going onto your second account and playing and repeating the cycle. This will increase your wins, increasing your win rate, and helping you to stop getting frustrated, because whenever you're autofilled or you have a troll, it's very easy to get pissed off and take that flame and rage into your next game and lose it. The only time you shouldn't be dodging is in your promo game, because if you do dodge a promo game, it counts as a hidden loss. Even though it doesn't technically affect your win rate, the hidden loss will affect your MMR. So if you kept getting in a promo and dodging both your promo games, it's actually counting as 2 losses, and you won't be able to skip divisions that way, and it'll take forever. The last thing I want to mention about climbing quickly and efficiently that I haven't already mentioned is having pristine win rates in MMR is very, very important. If you can keep a pristine win rate in MMR, you will skip divisions. For example, after I got placed Plat 5 and let the account decay to Gold 1, I got back into Plat 5, then I skipped to Plat 3, then I skipped to Plat 1. If you get to skip division, guys, if you have good enough MMR, which saved me loads and heaps of time and frustration. So for those of you thinking that dodging is just an actual waste of time, it's really not, because in the long run, if you are utilizing dodging properly and utilizing my other tips, you should be able to skip divisions. Now that I've achieved Challenger in LAN, I do want to achieve Challenger in NA. I do understand getting Challenger in NA will be considerably more difficult. However, I do believe I can achieve it before the end of the season on a brand new fresh account that I'm currently starting my climb on right now on Twitch TV/KingStix. If you guys are interested in checking it out, watching me climb live to Challenger, I'll be giving you heaps and loads of tips for jungle, and occasionally if I get autofilled for support as well. I'll leave a link for that down in the description below and in the pinned comment. Definitely check that out. If this video did help you out and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.